Hello, sunshines. Welcome to BunniPhish Crafts. I'm your host, Heather, known as BunniPhish on Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, TikTok, all the places. If there's a bunnyfish, it's probably me. Do I have something on my nose? I think I did. Hi. It is Thursday, May 2nd, and I am just checking in with you really quick because I finished a couple things in the last couple days. So first, I finished this pair of fingerless mitts, no pattern, just 10 rounds of 1x1 rib at the top and at the bottom, and I think I cast on 56 stitches or so, 50 something stitches, knit to the length that I wanted the fingers because finger length was more important than length down here. And then cast on 17 stitches and decreased 2 stitches every third-ish round until I was back to my regular stitches, which obviously means on one round, because I cast on 17, I only decreased by 1. And then and the ends are all woven in, and yeah, I'm going to put these away for fall, but I now have these 2 scraps of yarn out of my stash, and I really like how they have this matching pooling on them. I think that's really super fun. And then I finished reading Daisy Darker, which was really good. I was recommended it by a friend of mine, and it's a murder mystery thing, and it jumps back and forth in time a little bit. It's very cool. I liked it more than I thought I was going to. It's really interesting, really good. I did kind of figure out the ending before it happened, but I think that has more to do with the ADHD ability to really follow patterns really closely. Not that the author gave too much away. So I liked it. I would maybe read more by this author. But again, murder mysteries are not really something I go out of my way to read, so I wouldn't be opposed to reading another one. If someone was like, hey, you should read this book by this author, I'd be like, oh, okay, but I'm not going to go read her entire catalog or anything like that. All right, I will check in again with you sometime later this month. Hello, sunshines. It is June 1st, but we're going to count this for May roundup. If you joined me for May Day's vlogs, thank you so much. And if you did not, then I am excited to show you all of the things that I have been working on and finished since whatever day early in May I recorded a vlog. I think it was the 2nd. Not the intro for this video. That's what I mean. Okay, so there's a lot. Let's get into it. Also, because it's June 1st, just know that my next vlog, my June vlog, is going to start in the same outfit because I'm starting it right after I finish this one. Okay, so finished. I finished my Mystic Spiral Socks pattern by Nova Rix Rabinski, and the yarn is by 716 Knit. So finished them. 62 stitch count. They have this, you can kind of see it, they've got these parts where you do short rows to get these triangle motifs. I really like it. I've made this pattern, I don't know, so many times. Maybe, I would say less than a dozen, but more than 5, if I had to guess. It's pretty easy. I don't even look up the directions for the pattern anymore because I've made it so many times. By easy, I mean intuitive. Like, everything that you have to do makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, pretty pleased with how those socks turned out. And the colorway I think was called Buffalo Skinks. I also finished, this was one of my daily projects. I finished this Advent sock. So this was the Cozy Knitter 2023 Advent sock. And I did a stripe a day for a while until I finished another project. And then I did 2 stripes a day. And the pattern is, I think it's called Self-Striping Sock. It was a free pattern on Ravelry. I don't know if it is anymore, but I've used it for all of my Advent, my Cozy Knitter Advent skein socks. So they're all similar. Like they have the same pattern. The stripes are different on all of them. I think this is my 5th sock. And yeah, pretty pleased with how it turned out. I use black yarn for the cast on and also for the heel. And this is probably the last of these socks that I will make using those colors, or maybe at all, I don't know. But now I have 5 of them, so the 2.5 pairs should last me a while because I can just rotate which ones I wear with which. And then, let's see. I am working on a test knit for Alendria Knits. She put out a test call, and it's for a sock that has colorwork chart, and I am making my niece socks for Christmas because she didn't pick what she wanted for Christmas. So, I forgot my nephew's hat. Hopefully I remember to grab that. She didn't pick what she wanted for Christmas, so I told her she's getting socks. So this is the first one. It's all finished. The pattern is going to be released mid-June, so look for that on Instagram. If you leave a comment below if you really want the pattern, I will tell you when it's released, but mid-June is the release date. So here's the first sock, and the yarn that I used for it and for the next several projects is Knit Picks Stroll Fingering Weight in the Dogwood Heather colorway and black. And then here is the second one. The test knit ends next weekend, so I have a week to finish it. Ooh, look how pretty that is. My sister actually suggested that I swap the colors, invert the colors. So it's going, what is that, about halfway, a little more than halfway through this colorwork chart, which is good. I wanted to have the second sock done by this weekend. It was an arbitrary goal that I made about a week ago, but then I didn't work on it all week, so probably not. Probably won't be done this weekend. But if I can get through the colorwork chart today, that puts me in a really good place to get all of this part done tomorrow, because it's just a vanilla sock and that's super easy, right? Or not a vanilla sock, a vanilla portion. Like there's very little thinking that goes into knitting a heel flap and gusset for me. I've done so many now that I mean, at least, how many pairs of socks do we think I've done at this point? 200? 300? I have no idea. I have no count. So a lot. But yet unnamed pattern by Alendria Knits, and it's working up so cute. I'm really enjoying it. Though the colorwork rounds do take me a while. So I don't quite knit a stitch per second. It's probably like 2 stitches every 3 seconds, I would say, on average when I'm knitting. So I'm not the fastest knitter, but I'm not slow, right? But I do a rotation. If you're new here, I like to break up what I'm doing, especially on my days off, by rotation. And right now, my current rotation and my rotation for the previous 2 weeks
has included a 20-minute rotation of knitting on this test knit sock, and in 20 minutes I can do 5 rounds in the colorwork section. So significantly slower than what I can normally knit if I'm just doing plain stockinette. But that's okay. It's not a race. I just need to have the test knit sock done by next weekend, and technically I don't. Like, technically I don't have to have the sock done. I've already, like, by completing the first sock and looking over the colorwork chart for the second, I've already completed what I need to do for the test knit. But I would like to have the second sock done for her release day so I can post it on Instagram, help her out a little. And so I mentioned that I'm using that same sock or that same yarn in a couple different projects. So the original project that I started with that yarn is a pair of socks for my oldest kiddo, a pair of thigh-high socks for my oldest kiddo. My goal for the month, I believe I said, was 5 stripes added to both socks. I did not do that, but I did add 4. I'm not using a pattern for these thigh-highs. I'm just kind of making it up as I go. I cast on 120 stitches for the cuff. There's elastic inside here, which I upcycled from a pair of old boxers, and it's ribbed. And then when I got to the front of the knee, I went from a 2x2 rib down to, on the front of the leg, down to a 2x1 rib. And I am slowly now decreasing on the back of the sock to turn it into a 2x1 rib. So eventually it will all be a 2x1 rib, I think. Yeah, so I wanted to do 5 stripes from here, and I did not get that far. Got 4. Still good progress. But also I want to do, so this marker right here, this little red marker, can you even see it? Barely. This little red marker is going to stay here, and that is going to indicate where I am for the leg, and I want to do 10 stripes from that marker all the way down the leg, and then that should take me to the heel. I will try it on again once I get to that 10th stripe. Definitely not before that. The problem was I kept trying the socks on to be like, how far are we? And I'm like, stop it. We know we didn't get that much further. Just stop. So sometimes I need to remind myself that instead of just checking the progress all the time, just make some progress. Check it later, because a thigh is, or a calf is pretty long, like a leg is pretty long, and my kid is taller than me. So I'm trying it on, and then making it a little bit longer than what I think it needs to be for me. But I think they're really turning out really nice. My oldest kiddo picked out the colors, and like we went on knit picks, because at first they said they wanted magenta. This is not magenta. But they said they wanted magenta, so I was like, okay, so here's the pinks in the Knit Pick Stroll colors, so let me know which one you want. And they picked this. I was like, okay, not magenta, but your socks, so whatever you want, kid. So I didn't make as much progress as I wanted, but I'm okay with the progress that I made, because it's a lot of stitches, and it's not the most interesting project. It's not horrible. It's just, it's just ribbing. And the stripes are 15 rounds long, so it's big blocks of color. It's not changing things up a lot, but that's okay. It's what my kiddo wants. So it's what my kiddo's gonna get for winter holidays. And then not only did they want the thigh highs, they also wanted fingerless mitts to go with them. I'm not going to try it on because, well, I mean, I'll try it on. Let's see. Am I going to drop stitches? I think I'm going to drop some stitches. Am I okay with dropping some stitches? have another needle. Bear with me for a moment. I'm just going to knit some stitches onto this other needle because I was thinking about casting on the second one, but now I don't want to do that. I don't want to have all of these projects, or all of these, not projects, but all of these pieces in the same colors of yarn, because if I cast on the second one, then I'm going to feel obligated to work on the second one, and I just kind of don't want to right this minute. I can do it after I finish the test knit sock. So, okay. Alright, that's enough stitches that I can. Fingerless mitt, I'm telling you. It's telling me no. It's telling me I need to knit a few more, which is fine. I knit this mostly at a concert that my niece was a part of this month. So it was mostly knit in the dark, and that worked out fine because I could knit in the dark, and I did the stockinette sections. So the fingerless mitts are slightly different from the leg warmers in that the part that is on the palm is not ribbed. It's just stockinette. So I did that mostly because I didn't want to do any ribbing at that point. Okay, here we go. That's the fingerless mitt so far. I asked my kiddo how long they want the fingerless mitt, and they said to here. And I said no. I said I could probably compromise and go to like here. But if I went all the way here, like, there's a little bit of increases that I'll probably do on the forearm, but to get a bicep inside there, like, that's too many stitches. I don't want to. So I'm not going to. And my oldest kiddo knows how to knit. I taught them how to knit. So if they really want fingerless mitts that go up all the way, they can knit their own. They're not going to, but they could. So anyway, look how cute that is. Pleased with that. And then I have another project that I started. How did you get? What is going on? Sorry, got a little wrapped up. Okay, found it. Got it. I started another project, different yarn, very exciting. So this is part of the project and it's finished. I was here at the beginning of the month, right there, and I worked it from the brim up. So it's a hat. I'm either gonna donate it to sometimes, well, my sister and I were going to this knit group at a church, knit crochet group that collected donations. I don't know if we are anymore or not. Oh, if you did not join for vlogs, you do not know. But my car, she has a timing belt issue. And she's an 09. And the cost for fixing the timing issue, plus the other things that are going wrong with her because she's an old lady, are not worth it. So I currently don't have a vehicle. I'm working on that, but I don't have one right now. And my sister, the group meets 2 Thursdays a month, and my sister always is working on a Thursday now. She started a couple new jobs. She works 4 jobs. I can't remember. She works a lot of jobs. And so I was like, oh, once school is out and I don't have my Thursday energy dip, because every Thursday I'm so tired. I was like, maybe I'll drive myself, but I can't do that right now. So I don't know. It might just get donated to school. But anyway, the yarn that I'm using for that is Big Twist Yarns Rainbow Classic. And I made the hat. So now I'm going to make a matching cowl, and I don't know how far this will take me in a cowl. My thought is I did I used a US 5 needle for the hat and did not enjoy the knit because it was so dense, which is nice for a hat, right? You want it to be dense, you want it to not let air through. But then I got onto the cowl and I was like, no, I'm not making it that dense. So I went up to a US size 7, and instead of doing 10 rounds for the brim, I did 8. Oh, I forgot. I'm on just stockinette now. Oops. So I did 8, and then I just accidentally did a couple extra stitches in the 1x1 twisted rib. It's a half twisted rib. The knits are twisted, the purls are not. But anyway, now I'm on the stockinette portion because I envision doing twisted rib on the bottom and the top, and then just stockinette in the middle just for ease. And I am going to do 30 rounds of stockinette, I think. I don't know. We'll see how far the yarn gets me. I have my marker to count for me for 30 rounds, but if I get to 20 rounds and it looks like I'm not going to have enough to finish out 30 and I should start the ribbing, then that's what I'm going to do. And if I have yarn left over, I will decide at that point what I want to do with it. If there's enough for fingerless mitts, I don't actually know how much. It's 8 ounces. Does it tell me how many yards are in here? Or just ounces? I don't see yardage. So, like, if I had yardage, I could better gauge how much I could knit with it. My gut is telling me that I could probably get a pair of like short fingerless mitts out of this also, but maybe not. Maybe my gut is lying to me. It's fine. I'll make what I can out of this, and if I have leftovers, back in January and February I made some scrappy acrylic afghans for auction at my school. They do a middle school auction. So I think for this fall, I'm also going to make another scrappy afghan for like the December auction. It's not set in stone, it's just kind of percolating, but I do have, as I've been cleaning and going through things, spring cleaning, you know, I found more acrylic leftovers, and I can hold those with white and or black yarn and hold that 2 strands, make a corner to corner, and they were very popular this past year. Those blankets were very popular among the middle schoolers, so I think I'm gonna do that again. Okay, I'm gonna get up really quick and get that hat. Okay, so I started a hat for my sister's oldest kiddo in April, and it is made using a US size F crochet hook, and they wanted a tall witch's hat. So I think this, hopefully this fits the bill. I don't know, I'll have to ask them, but this is what it's looking like so far. And I have intent to felt it a little bit, but I'm kind of at a stopping point because when I originally ordered the yarn, I only ordered 3 skeins of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted in, oh, I don't remember the name, the colorway name now. If I remember in editing, I'll put it on the screen, or maybe I'll put it down below. I know I mentioned it in one of the vlogs from May, so we'll see. But it's this really dark green tweed, and it's so pretty. I like that color. They said they wanted a witch's hat that was dark but not black, so I picked green just because I appreciate green, and if they wanted something else, they should have been more specific. I am on the brim of the hat, so I have like just under an inch of the brim. I'm thinking I probably want it to be like, I don't know, 4 to is 6 inches for the brim, maybe longer. So I need another ball of this. But I cannot justify purchasing yarn right now while I don't have a car. I have to save that monies, save those dollars so I can get a car, because it's the craziest thing. My kids want to go places and do things. Like the beach. Like my oldest was asking me, oh, when are we going to the beach next? Well, I have to figure out car situation. I don't have a car right now. The beach is not walkable distance, so we'll go as soon as I can figure out transportation. I mean, I could borrow my roommate's car, but I would want to do that in advance. I don't want to just be like, hey, what are you doing? Can I take your car for the day? I'd like to be like, hey, even if it's just a day's notice, but hey, tomorrow, can I take your car to the beach with the kids, blah, blah, blah. So it's fine. Tangent. But the hat is on pause until I can get more of that yarn, which is fine. I don't need it until winter holidays. But good job me. Look at me working on 3 different kiddos' winter holiday projects. My littlest kiddo, I'm gonna make her project over the summer because I haven't decided if I'm going to knit or crochet or sew it. She wants a dress. I'm thinking I might sew it. I think I would like that better than knitting or crocheting it. She wants pink and purple though. So I have to figure that out yet. And then I don't know what I'm going to make for my sister's other kiddo. My child is playing on the stairs with the cat. That is what that sound is. That is why I keep looking over there, because you're very distracting.
Kitty.
Mm-hmm. Zero remorse, that one. Okay, I think... Oh, no. Duh, right in front of me. I was going to say that's all that I worked on. No. Well, definitely not. I thought that was all the small projects I worked on, but no. I started this sock. I needed a school knitting project, so I started this sock. Oh my gosh, look at those colors. Love these socks. So 2 weeks ago, I want to say, I was working on the Buffalo Skinks socks, and my friend from work, he was like, oh, those are really cool. I like those colors. And I was like, okay, but they're not for you because they're for my work wife and I love her more than I love you. He was like, fair enough. I was like, but I could probably knit you a pair of socks. And so I went home and I had sent him a picture of a few different colors of yarn, or like a few skeins, 5 skeins, I think. And he picked this one, which is another 716. I did not only show him 716, he just happened to pick this one. And this colorway is called Music Video Wind and Hypno Eyes. And look at how fun those stripes are. Like, not only are the colors really fun, but the fact that there's a set of 3 narrow stripes and a thicker stripe, I just love it so much. Look how pretty it is. And he told me that he's really hard on his socks, and he was like, oh, they'll probably be worn out, you know, in just a couple months. And I was like, oh, well, what part of your socks do you wear out? He told me the bottom of his foot. So, can you see? I think you can really tell right here. I used reinforcement thread, but only on the bottom of the foot. So like only as wide as the heel turn. You can see on the rest of the bottom of the foot, there is no reinforcement thread. So I did work across and then carry a loop to bring it back to the beginning when I got all the way around. And then I knit over, under that thread to kind of weave it in across. And sometimes my estimates were like spot on for how long I needed it. Sometimes they were a little longer. So over here, you can see I kind of knit in the extra thread. And this side. This side is going to need a little bit of surgery. For when I had the reinforcement thread, and I brought it back over, it pulled that stitch out of place a little. So there's a pretty gnarly ladder right here. You can see it. I think you can see it. So I am going to I left a length of reinforcement thread, and I was going to sew that up. It's not a big deal. But yeah, so technically I finished this sock this morning. Well, I haven't Kitchenered it yet, but whatever. It was only down at the toe last night, but it doesn't matter because the pair's not finished. So it's not like I could have counted it finished for myself in May anyway. I mean, I would have, like, if I just had to Kitchener, if I just had the toe, I would have counted this as a May finish, but that's not what it is. It's only the first sock. Okay, and then the Pride blanket. This is the only blanket I'm going to talk about today, but please know that I worked so very diligently on all of my blankets this month. Every single one of my scrappy blankets got work put into it. I will talk about one scrappy blanket after I talk about this, actually, because I said I would in my vlog. So here is the Pride blanket, and I put on so much progress this month. So, how to best show it? Like this. Okay. So, can you see? This is where I was for the rainbow stripes. And I am more than halfway through the green stripes. So I have the purple, the blue, the green. Then I just need the yellow, orange, red. And now that I have knit more of it, you can actually kind of see how big it is. So let's see. How big is... Okay, that's my wingspan. And so then it's wingspan plus another big chunk. That's how long it's going to be. And the width is... The width is a little wider than my wingspan, which is good because my kiddo is bigger than I am, taller than I am, super skinny, tiny twiglets is what I have, but super skinny. I'm knitting it on a US size 7. The yarn is Knit Picks Mighty Stitch, which is an acrylic wool blend. I think that this white is Mano Stel Uruguay. I can't remember. It's a worsted weight, also a wool acrylic blend, I think, but I don't 100% remember. And the black is Plymouth Yarns Encore, which is a wool acrylic blend also. And at the end of April, I had just barely started the I-cord bind off or I-cord edging. I don't like doing I-cord. I don't like it, but I like the way it finishes things. So I worked down this section of the side, and then I am almost halfway across the bottom. This is the halfway. What do you need? I'm recording. Rude. Okay, get out of here. Go away. Take your cat toy. Get out of here. Stop.
Okay.
Thank you. But tragedy struck. I'm working the I-cord on different size needles. This is a 10.75 US, which is a 7mm needle for the I-cord, because I found working the I-cord on the same size needle as the blanket was making it way too tight. But as you can see, it's got like space, some give to it. So tragedy struck though, because these are Nova Cubics, I think. And it was on my bed this morning, and I like shifted to grab something else, and I ended up kneeling on this needle and snapping it. But the break is really clean, but it still has texture in it. Can you see the break? Can you see? So I'm really thinking I'm gonna see if I put some wood glue on it and then tape it in place. If I can then sand it down after the wood glue is dry, see if I can keep this needle, because it's the only one I have in this size. So I mean, either way, I'm definitely using it for the duration of knitting the I-cord, because I only ever have 3 stitches on this needle at a time, really. So it'll be fine. But oh, I couldn't believe I did that. So frustrated with myself. Okay, the last project that I'm going to talk about is my Hexapuff blanket that I'm making for my oldest kiddo, the one who just threw a cat toy at me. So their graduation blanket is going to be Beekeeper's Quilt Hexapuff blanket. Actually, I'm going to show it to you. So here we go. Here is my kiddo's Hexapuff blanket. And at the beginning of the year, I just said I wanted 100 Hexapuffs together. And then I did that. And then I was like, oh, this is satisfying having these Hexapuffs actually together. And it looks like a real blanket. So I attached another section of the blanket, but it wasn't all sewn in. Well, now it pretty much is. So this is what it looks like. How cool is that? I would say that this is probably not a quarter of the size that it's going to be, maybe like a 1/6 of the size. But I have so many Hexapuffs. So many. I have Hexapuffs that I've made because I started this blanket a very long time ago. Maybe 10 years ago. Maybe just shy of 10 years. I do have the start date, so I'll put that on the screen. But I started it a really long time ago. And so I have Hexapuffs that I've made. I have Hexapuffs from at least 2 different friends who started making Hexapuffs and then decided for whatever reason that they didn't want to anymore. And let's see, I can actually show you, because one of my friends was making Hexapuffs that are slightly bigger. Oh, this one right here. Can you see it? This colorful one, like slightly bigger than the ones I'm making, but once it's sewn in, I think it's fine. So at least 2 friends gave me their Hexapuffs because they didn't want to make them anymore. And I've made so many. I have a bag of Hexapuffs. I have containers, like plastic containers full of Hexapuffs. I have plastic bags right here that are full of Hexapuffs. I have so many. I'm pretty sure that I have more than enough for one blanket. And it's not like I'm just gonna throw those extra Hexapuffs away, right? So I have so many Hexapuffs, and I actually enjoy knitting Hexapuffs. They're really satisfying. They're small, they're portable. I like knitting Hexapuffs. So I'm sure that I have more than enough Hexapuffs to finish this blanket. But if I don't, I can always make more. But I'm pretty sure I have more than enough. So I have started making, instead of just making one Hexapuff when I'm using up a large mini skein or large remnant. I'm making 2, and I've started a blanket for my work wife, because if I'm really close to you, eventually I'm going to make you a blanket. Like, if we're friends for a really long time and I'm really close to you, we talk very frequently, I'm gonna make you a blanket. And my work wife and I have known each other for a while now. And I feel like this blanket, like this style of blanket, would really appeal to her. So, this is my second Hexapuff blanket. Because I feel like I don't have enough to do, I guess. I don't know. But there's always going to be scraps, right? Like, I'm going to knit for a very long time now, still, I mean, and some people don't like having scraps, and so they send them to me, which I really appreciate. Or they feel overwhelmed by their scraps, or they have scraps that they don't necessarily want to use for their scrappy projects, so they send them to me, which I really, really appreciate. That said, my scrap stash is way smaller than it was last year. I've been using them up. I'm proud of me for using up the scraps instead of just hoarding them. But anyway, a second barn raising square blanket is a thing. And this one, you know, will be finished in 10 years, just like this one. This one might be a 15-year project, but I knew it was going to be long term. I started it when my kid was small. Oh my gosh, I have a picture of my kid holding up some. Let me put that here. I started this blanket when my kid was small and knew that I wanted it finished by the time they graduated from high school, and that deadline is approaching. Not super rapidly. This is their first year of high school, but I want to get it sewn up. Like, I have the Hexapuffs mostly made. I want to get it sewn up. That's not going to stop me from continuing to make new Hexapuffs to put in the blanket. Like, this is new, this is new. This one's new. But whatever, that's how that's going. Okay, let's talk about books. So this month I already told you about, I think, 1 or 2 books that I finished this month. I don't remember, that was a long time ago. But I also have a couple more that I finished. I read Into the Riverlands by Nevo, which I've already returned to the library. I have 2 books that I've already returned to the library. I liked it a lot. I really, really like what is this series called? I really like what is this series called? It has a name. The Singing Hills Cycle. Okay, this is the next book in the series that I've started, but I'm not going to talk about that here because I started it. Well, actually, I started it in May. I did start it yesterday. Started it. I got to page... Nope, that's not true. Somewhere in the teens, I think. I just barely started it. Out of 118 pages. So they're really short. Into the Riverlands was also really short. They're just novellas, but they follow a cleric as they are trying to get home. And very exciting, they finally make it home in this book, but I don't know what happens because I'm only on page 18. Really, really enjoy Nevo's work. I got to, if you didn't watch the vlogs, you don't know. You don't know. Oh, I got to meet Nevo and my favorite author ever, Jacqueline Carey. I got to meet them. There were 5 women on a panel. Veronica Roth was also there. She was very funny. So was Nevo. And then Rebecca Thorne, whose things I have not read, but I will be reading this summer. And Andrea Hairston. I also haven't read her things, but I got 2 of her books, so I'll be reading some of that this summer. So anyway, I read Into the Riverlands. I liked it. I did not like it as much as I liked the previous books. The first book is The Empress of Salt and Fortune, I think, and I really, really liked that, and I also really liked When Tiger Comes Down the Mountain. Those were the first 2 books. The third one, Into the Riverlands, still good, but like not as good. We'll see how Mammoths at the Gates goes. And then I also read It's in His Kiss by Julia Quinn, book number 7 in the Bridgerton books. I liked that one better than I've liked the previous couple Bridgerton books. There was nothing in it that made me go immediate ick. Immediately, this is disgusting and I don't like it. So that's good. And then I also read Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 3rd book in the Throne of Glass series, and I have read this book before. I did not realize that I had read this book before. I knew that I had read the first 2 books in the series, and then I was like, where did I leave off? And I read the brief library synopses of the books, and I was like, oh, that doesn't sound very familiar. So I started reading it and I was like, does it feel familiar because I've already read this book, or does it feel familiar because my brain remembers the characters? Because I read this book a long time ago. I don't remember how long ago because I didn't keep track. I mean, maybe it's in one of my old podcast journals because I used to write everything down for my podcasts. I do not do that anymore. But it's definitely not been in the past couple years that I've read this. And then I got to a scene, the scene in the cave. If you know, you know. I got to the scene in the cave and I was like, oh yes, I've definitely already read this. Okay. But it was fine because I read it so long ago that I didn't remember the details. So it was a good book. It was enjoyable. I'm definitely going to try to read the rest of the series this year. Maybe another one of these books this summer. We'll see. My TBR is very, very big. Oh my gosh. But we'll see. It's not, I don't like it as much as I like the ACOTAR books. Like the I don't know. The writing is less personally compelling for me. But it's not bad. It's just less like, I need to read this. I have also been reading The 48 Laws of Power. I had to return this to the library because someone else had it on hold. And so I put it back on hold. And then that person didn't claim the book in the week that it was on hold. So it immediately came back to me. So I'm reading 48 Laws of Power. I am almost finished with my reading for today, actually. So today I'm reading Law 29. So I'm working my way through it, just one law a day, taking it in. It's really interesting to see what the author thinks is important for influencing other people. I really, really like psychology books and things like that, so I'm really enjoying it, but I'm glad that I'm limiting myself to one law a day and really like thinking about what the psychology is behind it instead of trying to force my way through it. I usually try to read about 10 pages of nonfiction a day. And then I'm also reading the climate book because when 48 Laws of Power went back to the library, I was like, well, I still need to be keeping up with my own personal goal of reading 10 pages of nonfiction a day. So I picked up the climate book by Greta Thunberg, and I'm still reading an article a day. So the articles in here are pretty short. Anywhere from 2 pages to, I think one of them was 9 pages, but 4 of those pages were pictures. So they're pretty short. So I've been reading, since I picked up the 48 Laws of Power again, I've just been reading an article. And the science about our climate is, oof. I recommend this book. Like, if you want to know anything about the science behind what's happening in very short, very digestible chunks, this is a really, really good resource. Greta Thunberg doesn't write the whole thing. She writes like an intro to the section, and then what am I trying to say? Yeah, she writes the intro to each of the sections, and then there are other people who write the articles. So that's, you know, what the table of contents looks like. What is my daughter sending to her father? I don't know what the first message said, but the second one was, oh my God, from him. Well, it was OMG. Okay. What is she sending? She said, she came down here and she said, I'm going to text Dad and thank him for, he just got her some earbuds. And then she was like, and then I'm going to ask him for something. Okay. What are you going to ask him for? Okay. That's all I have to talk about for May. That's all 50 minutes of footage right now. I hope that your May was pretty good. Mine was good. My birthday month, I got fairly spoiled. It was, you know, lots of good things, a few bad things. It mostly balanced out. So I will see you, well, you'll see me again in June. I am considering doing bi-weekly episodes instead of monthly episodes, but we'll just see what the content looks like. I still have another week of school, but then I'm out of school. And that means I have so much more time to just, like, I'm not working summer school this summer. I am trying to relax. So I'll be doing some projects around my house. But I want to do a lot of reading. My TBR list is huge. I want to do a lot of crafting, which I'm going to talk about in June's vlog. So maybe, fingers crossed, two episodes a month for summer. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. All right. I will talk to you again so soon. Bye for now, friends. Okay, so here's the blanket spread out on my bed. I'm definitely more than halfway with it. And I'm on my 10th ball of yarn. So I feel like I have to get at least 10 more. But do I want to get 15? Do I want to just order 10? I don't know. Oh, look how cute it is. I love this blanket so much. I mean, I love all of my blankets. So that's not surprising. But how cute is this? Oh, I love this. But do I want to get just 10 more balls or do I want to get 15 and do a bigger border? Because right now it doesn't have any border on it. I think it would be fine with no border. But if I get 15, then I have it for border or I have it for extra or yeah. I don't know. What are your thoughts? How many do you think I should get and why? And also, this blanket is so gorgeous. All right, since we checked in on one blanket, let's check in on another. This is my barn raising square blanket. Isn't she cute? So I am at 68 squares attached. I don't have any more squares blocked, but I have one blocking. I just attached this one right here because pause. Let's check in on my mitered square blanket too while we're here. My mitered square blanket has one row in the black, and I'm using the black off of the square because one side gets me the one ridge that I need for my blanket. So I was like, well, I have a couple skeins of the yarn that I'm using for the black. It's Premier Serenity sock. But I was like, or I can just use the yarn off of here and save that skein of Premier Serenity sock to do the top border if I need it. Because I'm doing the border as I go using yarn that I pulled out.
And I guess since we've checked in on other blankets, let's check in on this one today. So here's the corner to corner, and it is not quite wide enough yet. So another 7-ish inches of width. I put in 11 minis this weekend. I might get one more in, maybe 2 more this evening. We'll see. But I kind of feel guilty because I still haven't done the miters, and it's like 6:30. Not the miters, the garter stitches, and it's 6:30. So I guess I'm gonna do those now, and then we'll see about working on this blanket some more. This is my incomplete, yes, I said incomplete, summer reading list because I'm still reading Air of Fire. I had to return 48 Laws of Power to the library today because it has been requested by somebody else, so I can't read it, which means I am going to start. Which of these do I want to start? Do I want to start the climate book today or art for self-care? I think I should save this for summer when I can actually like do some of this stuff. So I'm going to start the climate book today because I got to be reading some nonfiction every day. My shelves down here are a mess because I had to make space for my reading. That's our secret. Nobody's going to see that on Instagram. Just you and me and the vlog. So yeah, I have 2 cubes of reading for summer, which doesn't start for 3 more weeks. So I might finish Air of Fire by then. Maybe I'll read something else. It's also incomplete because I have a nonfiction book coming in the mail. It was supposed to be here yesterday, but now it says it's going to be here on the 17th. So I hope it is because it's for my online book club that I'm a part of. If not, I might have to order the Kindle version, which I think will be less cool than the version I ordered. And there's another book by Nevo that these are not in any sort of order. I just put them on the shelf so that they would be on the shelf, but now I'm going to organize them. There's another book by Nevo that's coming out. I think it comes out the 25th. I think. So that's on hold at my library for when it comes in. So that's 3 books that I do not physically have right now that I want to read this summer also. Now I'm going to organize these. Okay, so I rearranged it to be kind of like by urgency, I guess. This order will change throughout the summer. This is not the order that I'm reading these books in, but this is the order that I feel the urgency to read them right now because this one I'm sure someone has on hold. I really need to start reading this very soon. Very soon. And then this is new, so may or may not be on hold. This is my oldest book from the library. And then these I'm just really, really interested in reading. Partially because I just went to that book talk. So we'll see about when these get read. It's likely that I'm going to start one of these 4 because they're thin and I can leave them in my purse to take to work for the next couple weeks. So there's that. And then these are like my lower urgency reads. I want to read them, but you know, July-ish is fine.